Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you. Welcome to Bayou Sports Talk down here in the Bayou of Louisiana, baby. We have some great topics before you today. So we're going to get started and introduce our our podcast host and in which I'm the moderator Kay, and then we have Coach. Go ahead and holler at him.
It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boxing community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. Hopefully, all is well with each of you this evening, that we are wedged in between Easter, Resurrection Sunday, and Good Friday. So, hopefully, all is well with each of you. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Yeah, dig.
All right, we're gonna get this started. Coach, tell us what you have for us on boxing.
All right, in terms of boxing, there was some fights last night. Truthfully speaking, none of those fights really excite me. However, later on today, we're supposed to be looking at Sebastian Fundora against Tim Tszyu. And for those individuals that don't know, Tim Tszyu is the son of former junior welterweight champion, Hall of Fame caliber fighter, Kostya Tszyu. Those two are going to be fighting. And on the undercard of that particular fight, we supposed to get Esau Pitbull Cruz and Rolly Romero. In Rolly Romero's second to last fight, he got knocked out by Tank Davis. So, in terms of boxing, we have a lot of things from the sport of boxing that we are going to be looking at. However, that's the big thing. Then thereafter, we on April the 20th, 2 days before my G Day, my B Day, we have one of my favorite fighters, Devin the Dream Haney, against King Ryan Garcia. The unfortunate thing about Ryan Garcia is the fact that he's been having a lot of mental health issues lately. And, in terms of boxing, that's pretty much it in regards to boxing. Those are the two big things coming up. Everything else is really speculation. We talked about Errol Spence Jr. and his trainer, Derrick James, potentially separating. However, it looks like they're going to be mending fences and they're going to stay together as a tandem and a duo, which I was hoping for. So, more than anything, you know, in the sport of boxing, is business as usual. The sport of boxing is a sport that you and I, we love as kids. But outside of maybe like a handful of fighters, I'm not even gonna say a handful of, outside of a few fighters, like my favorite fighter, the Bronze Bomber Deontay Wilder, and Devin the Dream Haney, and Errol Spence Jr., and Regis Prograis. Like, I really could care less about the sport of boxing at this point because we really can't get the fights we love and we dying for in terms of, not in a literal sense, but the fights that we really covet as boxing fans, like, for example, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez, because Canelo is a coward. So that's the biggest issue with the sport of boxing. People like Canelo Alvarez, who's ducking Benavidez, he gets praised and so on and so forth. Whereas on the flip side, you have people that really, they dislike Devin Haney and Bill Haney, even though they're trying to do their best for Devin Haney to be a great fighter and give us the fights we want. The day and age we live in, the thing that's great gets pushed down, and the bad stuff is the thing that's considered to be great. But it's a crazy world we live in.
Yes, it is, Coach. So before we move forward to our next topic, let's shout out our fam out there, Motivation to Be a Millionaire, and Jared O11 Green. Thank y'all for showing up and showing out for us, as well as those who may not be sending messages, but thank you as well to you all. We appreciate your love and your support. So
Oh,
let's move on.
and one quick thing, Kay. Shout
Uh-huh.
out to King Ray. Since we
Yes,
are
he
wedged
couldn't
in,
be with us.
yeah, since we are wedged in between Easter Sunday and Good Friday, King Ray had some previous commitments he couldn't be on. But shout out to him because we know if it wouldn't be for that, he'll be right here. He'll be right here with us.
Yes, yes, and much love to Ray. We'll see you soon, Ray. So let's move on to the NBA coach. What do you have for us?
All right, in terms of our Pelicans, we know that the playoffs are getting ready to start in less than a month, couple weeks to be exact. The playoff tournament kicks off. But the big topic that I want to address for this particular show is if I had to pick any one team that the Pelicans would play in the first round of the playoffs, who would that particular team be? Now it seems as if things kind of stay put because the standings they kind of fluctuate a little bit here and a little bit there. To me, it seems like if the playoffs were to start right now, they'll probably play the LA Clippers more than anything. And I think the Pelicans, the way they've been rolling lately, they could get by the Clippers in the first round. However, I prefer a younger team with less experience. If they had to play any playoff team in the first round, I would prefer a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Sacramento Kings, so on and so forth. So that's the kind of team I would prefer for the Pelicans in a first round. I think if I had to avoid any two teams, first it'll be the Denver Nuggets. Secondly, it'll be the Clippers. Now I'm not saying they can't beat those two teams. I think they're definitely more than capable of beating both of those teams. But in terms of from a matchup perspective, even though I know a lot of people were saying, well, hey, if you play the Timberwolves, like who's going to match up with Anthony Edwards? Of course they will put Herb Jones on them without question. But I think those two teams, since they're younger, they don't have as much experience as the Nuggets and the Clippers. I'll prefer if they were to play any team in the first round, that they would either play either one, Sacramento Kings would be my first choice, and secondly, my second choice would be I'm gonna say the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the 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 Kings or the Timberwolves would be my two choices.
Okay, coach. And let me ask you this real quick before we move forward with the NBA. What do you foresee with the Lakers? Because I know LeBron, he showed up and showed out. I think it was last week after he had a off game because of an injury, but he came out and he did his thing. Do you think he's going to continue on this track, or that was just like a return thing?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. The Lakers are up and down. The way they're going, I don't even know if they're gonna make the play-in tournament. The Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. I definitely don't see the Golden State Warriors making it. But the way the Lakers going, I don't even know if the Lakers will make it. So it kind of remains to be seen. But I know the biggest issue that you have with the Lakers at this age and this stage in his career, there's no way LeBron James should be the best player on that team. It should be Anthony Davis. And I think the issue with Anthony Davis is he just, he's injury prone for one, but he just does not have that dog in him. He don't have that dog like MJ, like Kobe. He just don't have it in him. He's inconsistent. So I think more than anything, I think Anthony Davis needs to step up and be the best player on the team. And then I think thereafter, once they get LeBron on a long-term deal, more than likely, even though I don't think Bronny James at this stage in his career is good enough to be a first-round pick in the NBA, I think if he enters the draft, the Lakers are probably going to select him. But more than anything, they need to add 3 or 4 shooters around AD and LeBron. to kind of supplement their team.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Coach, and let's also shout out Jay Bar and Relax and Calm Rain. So, open discussion, Coach. I know you like this. Tell me, what do you have for our open discussion?
All right, for our open discussion, this is what we're going to talk about. I know in the past, you remember when we talked about Josh Giddey, player for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, he was dating an underage young lady. She was 15 years old. And when he was dating her, your same normal attack dogs at ESPN, like Stephen A. Smith, like Kimberly A. Martin, like Malika Andrews, they had nothing to say. However, on the flip side, when there was an issue with Von Miller, literally as they were, talking about this issue, they didn't have the same energy for Von Miller that they had for Josh Giddey. In terms of Josh Giddey, they gave Josh Giddey every benefit of the doubt. The young lady said she lied about her age. Basically, they gave Josh Giddey benefit of the doubt. They stayed as quiet as possible. They let Josh Giddey resolve his situation behind the scenes, and they pretty much let the situation die down. However, anytime it's a black athlete or African American athlete, Stephen A. Smith, Malika Andrews, Kimberly A. Martin, all the pundits on ESPN, they have so much to say. Why in this particular instance, Josh Giddey was able to let this situation die down. Now we have P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. He's been in the news. He's been all over these social media and YouTube streets, with his allegations. And the issue I have with that particular situation is the fact that you have people all in the media. I don't care whether it's old media, whether it's new media, in terms of old media, in terms of the major networks, whether it's, CNN, whoever the case may be, or whether it's on YouTube. You go on YouTube right now, literally all over YouTube, you have black YouTubers. Literally, they're almost like celebrating in the streets because they're rejoicing in the downfall of this black man, in terms of no matter what the media says about him, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. He's guilty before even proven innocent. Ordinarily it's innocent till proven guilty, whereas in this particular instance is guilty till proven innocent. So you got black YouTubers, a lot of African Americans, they rejoicing all over social media, whether it's Twitter, which is X, which is formerly known as Twitter, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, all over social media, like they're just rejoicing. They're talking about this situation to no degree. However, you have Vince McMahon, who's the former chairman and owner of the WWF/WWE. He's being charged with the same allegations, except instead of just trafficking, in addition to that, he has some even more heinous allegations. Yet nobody's talking about Vince McMahon's situation. In addition to that, you have Dolan, who's the owner of the New York Knicks. Supposedly, him along with Harvey Weinstein, evidently they did this lady, they SA'd her. Nobody's talking about that. When Brett Favre had his situation, nobody talked about how he had a welfare scandal where he stole millions and millions from the state of Mississippi. So it's like when a black entertainer, when a black athlete does something that's wrong, basically old media, whether it's ESPN, whether it's FS1, whether it's CNN, CNBC, whatever the platform is, they talking about it to no degree. They talking about it endlessly, and also like it's like black YouTubers and black people all across social media. They rejoicing in the streets over this particular situation, whereas you have white people that have even more money, more power than Puffy or P. Diddy, that's in the same situation. And these same individuals, they don't have the same energy for Vince McMahon, Jim Dolan, or Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Chad Wheeler, whoever the white person in question is, they don't have the same energy for those individuals. So I don't understand like why black people rejoice in the downfall of another black person. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if he did anything wrong that I'm coming to his defense. But the point I'm trying to make is he's guilty till proven innocent instead of innocent till proven guilty. Whereas you have somebody like Vince McMahon who's facing the same allegations and same charges as Diddy, except he did a couple even more extreme acts in addition to the same allegation that Diddy has. But yet there's nobody talking about Vince McMahon and Jim Dolan and so on and so forth. So the point I'm trying to make is like, why do black people rejoice in seeing the downfall of another black person? At one point, like as black people, we looked out for each other, we stayed on code, but it seems as if we doing the bidding of white supremacy. Whether if you look at, at ESPN, you see Stephen A. Smith, basically he the man one talking about these black athletes if they're doing something. Malika Andrews, she's quick, whether it's even in a passing of somebody like a Brandon Miller or Kobe Bryant, she's quick to throw somebody black under the bus. That bad wench, Kimberly A. Martin, the same. So the point I'm trying to make is I don't understand like why, black people rejoice in the downfall of other black people. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people talk about, the Willie Lynch letters and how, white supremacy has always done a good job of dividing black people. Even if you look at social media, the gender war, those type of things, so on and so forth. I mean, it's sad and it's disgusting. And at one point, at least we stuck together, but now it's to a point now where, man, hey, we, black people, instead of elevating each other, exalting each other, speaking life and hope into one another, like we tearing each other down. And some of these same black YouTubers, if you tell them, hey, Vince McMahon is looking at the same situation as Diddy, but even worse, they didn't even want to talk about it. So, that's the thing that just aggravates me. And that's the open discussion topic for today.
Okay, well, Coach, just a rebuttal real quick, or a response. I think what it is, and even though it sounds kind of pitiful, and I'm not giving excuses, but a lot of this is dealing with programming. When you're programmed a certain way, the black community has been programmed. So now they fall into that mold, that way of doing things instead of being different. And that I think that's part of the problem. It's just it's gone on for so long that no one is doing anything different, saying anything different. But and as you say, we are not coming to his defense because it's just real sad about the industry in general, not him in particular, but it as a whole. It is sad. It's really sad, and all we can do is just pray for the everyone that's involved, and just hope for things to get better as well. So
Yeah,
let's move on.
that's an excellent and phenomenal point you bring up, Kay. That was an excellent response. As black people, we have been programmed and conditioned to operate the way we operate. And Jay Barr make an excellent point in terms of Vincent Kennedy McMahon and Jim Dolan and Chad Wheeler and Brett Favre. basically they have the complexion for the protection. And that's one thing about these different races of people. They stick with one another and they stay on code. Whereas as black people, we throw each other under the bus. And that's sad.
Yes, it is, but you have to be able to, be different. And that's, I'm not trying to give this as an excuse, but uh, as a child of God, you have to stand out and stand up. So moving forward, let's move on to fact or cap. What you have for us, Coach?
All right. For those individuals, as we know right now, we are in the midst of the NCAA tournament. We're in the midst of the NCAA tournament, both the men and the women's tournament. And there's a lot of games going on. However, the game that I was tuned into the most, because at this point, I think the women's side is more exciting than the men. LSU beat UCLA 78-69 in the Sweet 16 to advance to the Elite Eight. Fact that Cap, you was impressed by LSU's win today over UCLA.
To be truthful, honest with you, Coach, I did not see it because I was out in the yard cutting grass. So I did not see it, but uh, I feel like what was the final score? If
It was
if
78-69. It was a
so
9-point win.
so I'm not saying that's impressive, and I'm not saying it's not, but I feel like they are so much better than that. I really do. And the reason why I say that is because they have come from such a long way, and I just really want the best for them. So, I'm glad they did win. So they got that V. So, what do you think, Coach?
I'll say fact. The reason being is because for the game, Angel Reese was in foul trouble like most of the game. She ended up fouling out, but between her and Flau'jae Johnson, they combined for 40 points and 23 rebounds. So I would say it's an impressive victory. I'm satisfied with the way they played. So I would say it was an impressive win. I would say that's definitely a fact.
Okay. Um, do you have anything else for us, Coach, for fact or cap?
I have a variety of other different topics. However, basically, we're gonna take those topics and we're gonna use them for future shows. So that's the only factor cap we have for this particular episode.
Okay, Coach. Well, let's move on to the NFL. What are your thoughts?
All right, in terms of the Saints, I feel like the major thing we talking about in terms of the Saints, we talked about Chase Young situation last week, King Ray and myself, and basically we were saying how if Chase Young would be 100% healthy, I think it would be a big pickup for the Saints. But the fact that he has this neck issue and that he is going to be out until maybe the start of training camp, like that's one thing we didn't see coming in terms of him potentially having an injury. So my thing is, why sign an injured player? I mean, maybe they're really trying to groom him for the future in terms of being an eventual replacement for Cam Jordan. Carl Granderson is already started on the other side on the opposite end spot. So you got Cam Jordan, you got Carl Granderson. Also, it seems as if Peyton Turner is a first round pick defensive end. He's a bust. Uh, so you know, so I don't know. We talked about how we think it's a questionable move, but more than anything for this particular topic, I just kind of want to address, in my opinion, what the biggest need for the Saints going into the draft. I feel like the biggest area of need, first and foremost, they need a young, good, strong safety that's going to be the eventual heir apparent to the Honey Badger. And of course, being that I'm a member of Jaguar Nation, I love Southern University Jaguars. I hope at some point that they give. Jordan Carter, strong safety at Southern University, the opportunity to make the roster for the Saints. But I think more than anything, I think the Saints, they need a good young quarterback that can eventually replace Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is not the answer. But more than anything, they need to improve their offensive line play, because Cesar Ruiz, he's a bust in my opinion. Uh, uh, and just the offensive line in general.
Hey, get off of that.
I don't think Mickey Loomis did a great job in terms of putting the offensive line together with Trevor Penning and Cesar Ruiz, so on and so forth. So I think the Saints need to really address the offensive line play in the draft. So,
I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm so sorry. And
yeah,
I was talking to the
baby,
dog.
we understand that you got little ones and they doing what they need to do, but more than
But it was
anything,
also I was talking to the dog. Okay. Okay, so Coach, I want to ask a quick question before we close and we move on. Do you think that the decisions that we talked about with the Saints, things will be brought forward to the front office, and they will try to make some kind of adjustments to move forward, or do you think on his own, Dennis Allen will try to make some changes so that he can have a better year for the Saints?
well,
What are your
honestly,
thoughts?
I don't think Dennis Allen gonna try to make the changes and adjustments. I think first and foremost, Mickey Loomis is gonna try to make those adjustments in regards to, he needs to improve the offensive line play first and foremost. I think they need an heir apparent to Derek Carr, because I don't care nobody say, I think he trashes a quarterback, and I think he's gonna try to make those adjustments. On the defensive side of the ball, they have some real good veteran players. However, if you look at players like Cam Jordan, like the Honey Badger, Teron Matthew, those players are in the twilight of their careers. So they need to have good young players to replace the players that's, a little bit longer and older in the tooth. So they need to get young players to replace those older players, and keep the train rolling on the track.
Okay, so I just look forward to us having a good year, in the 2024-2025 football year. Hopefully we see results. I don't want to just be talking about it. I just want the Saints to be about it. Um, and as and also, if the Saints can't do it, I look forward to, and it sounds crazy, but I look forward to the Ravens. I want to see what Jackson has, because I feel like he's a talented young man and he is capable of so much more than what's going on for him.
Yeah. And of course, salute to my brother Brent Fox and my brother Jared Loving Green. Of course, you just kind of started something within the Southern Baller Show family, because Brent Fox is a huge Steelers fan. Jared Loving Green is a huge Ravens fan. So he's going to co-sign the fact that if the Saints don't hold up their end of the bargain, the fact that you looking forward to the Ravens doing well. But Brent Fox, he's not going to want to hear that, because he's a Steelers fan. So, that's the interesting component that we have on the Southern Baller Show.
Well, I wouldn't even lie to you. I want all of our young men to do well, because looking at and these are just the two teams that I really want to do well. I wouldn't even lie to you, but I want to see what um, Russell Wilson will do. He's in a new team, and I want to see that, because I just don't want him to be thrown to the side. Like, I feel like that's what they did with what's his name, who got in a fight, Cam Newton. I feel like they threw him to the side, as well as what's the young man who kneeled down and it just basically
Oh, you talking about Colin Kaepernick?
yes, I
Well,
feel
you have
like
to
they
understand.
blackballed him, but
Well, yeah, no, they definitely did. But I think in the instance of Colin Kaepernick, it was more political. You know, it kind of ties into our earlier topic of white supremacy. So, they didn't want to bring attention to, all of the people that has been treated unjustly in terms of like Alton Sterling, who passed not too far from where I work at in terms of my school. Uh, Philando Castile, Eric Garner, whoever. They didn't want to bring shit light and bring attention to that. So that was more of a racial issue more than anything. But you bring up an interesting point
Why you
in
screaming? You
terms of
screaming for no reason. Stop
in,
it.
in terms of when you talk about the Steelers and Russell Wilson, a lot of individuals feel that Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, it should be an open quarterback competition. But uh I think the Steelers organization, I think they're doing a good job in terms of if Russell Wilson does good, maybe they could keep him long term. But more than anything, I think they're setting it up to where Justin Fields, he can sit behind Russell Wilson and he could learn and he could be the heir apparent. Mike Tomlin is an excellent head coach. The Steelers have an excellent organization. So, aside from our Saints, of course, we want the Saints to do better than any other team in the NFL. The dynamic between the Ravens and the Steelers, that's going to be an interesting dynamic for this coming season. Now, in terms of Jay Ball, when he's talking about the Colts, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if the Colts going to be able to make it, into the playoffs, with their situation. I mean, the Colts had, a pretty good team this season, in my opinion. But it's going to be interesting to see whether they're going to be able to get over the hump or not. Who's going to be the starting quarterback. Uh, so I think more than anything, I think they have a, a pretty good situation. To me, Gardner Minshew is not the future. So it's gonna kind of be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do next year moving forward. But I think the sky's the limit for a team like the Colts. They're in a tough division. With another good young quarterback who's a rookie last year, and C.J. Stroud. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what the AFC South has to look forward to in terms of opposite of the NFC South. The AFC South, you got the Texans with CJ Stroud, you got the Colts, you got the Jaguars. That's gonna be an interesting division. And like my brother Jared Levin Green, I think if Anthony Richardson, if he could stay healthy and he kind of do his thing, yeah, he definitely gonna be a problem 100%.
You think about Brock Purdy? What do you think the San Francisco 49ers are gonna at least make it thus far again this year against again next year?
Well, I think the big issue, first of all, like Cam Newton said, Brock Purdy is a glorified game manager. I don't care what nobody say. I stand on that. But it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with the situation with Brandon Ayuk. You got in terms of their offense, you got Brock Purdy, who's the signal caller. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got George Kittle. You got Debo Samuel. But Brandon Ayuk, people, I think they kind of underestimate that Brandon Ayuk was a huge component to the offense. I mean, I think Debo Samuel is a phenomenal weapon, but more than anything, you know, Debo Samuel, he's not just a straight dominant as just a straight receiver. He kind of more like a Cordero Patterson type, where you put him in running back, you let him run the ball some, and you throw him the ball as a wide receiver too. It's not like he's just a straight dominant receiver. And I think he was able to feed off of Brandon Ayuk, this season. So having Brandon Ayuk and having Debo Samuel and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, if you don't have all those same weapons at his disposal, I don't think Brock Purdy is the same quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers situation, how they resolve the situation between themselves and Brandon Ayuk. Do they do like the Kansas City Chiefs did with Snead, and they just Jerry Snead, and move him because they know long term they really can't pay him, or do they just let him walk? or what? Like, how does John Lynch and the 49ers organization resolve the situation with Brandon Ayuk? And Jay Ball makes an excellent point. Joe Flacco going to be backing up Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson is, I think, he the key to the Colts' future. So, that's how I'm gonna address those two topics. To me, it's not so much about Brock Purdy; it's more so about the weapons around him. Like the Christian McCaffrey, like the Debo Samuel, like the George Kittle, like the Brandon Ayuk. Is this situation gonna be resolved? And in terms of the Colts, I think the Colts have a bright future, but Anthony Richardson has to stay healthy.
What? Let me ask you this: do they have a plan B as a backup quarterback if God forbid something happens to him? Who's their backup quarterback
Who you talking about?
for the 49ers?
That's gonna be the thing. They traded the quarterback that was supposed to be the future. I can't remember his name. They traded him to the Cowboys. They drafted him
And
high.
that's my question. Who is the backup quarterback, or do you think they're going to try to get a quarterback for the draft that they can mold?
I don't think they're gonna draft the quarterback because you got to realize they have a lot invested in terms of Brock Purdy. So, you won't have a decent backup. But in terms of, if something would happen to Brock Purdy, I don't think it'll be the end of the world because let's be honest, it's not like Brock Purdy was, I don't know, like you say, like Cam Newton or like Drew Brees or like Tom Brady. It's not like he this all world quarterback. He a glorified game manager. So whoever you have at that quarterback position, as long as they can not turn the ball over and keep their defense out of compromising situations, I think whoever they have at quarterback, I think is decent.
Because he was trying to follow in his dad's footsteps. Is it his dad's footsteps? I know with the coach, his dad had won a Super Bowl, and he wanted to be like his dad. And something happened with Brock
I think you're
Purdy.
talking about Christian McCaffrey. Ed McCaffrey used to play for the Denver Broncos. He won a Super Bowl, and of course, Christian McCaffrey, the running back, is his son.
No, because with the Super Bowl this year, and that may be a fact for that situation, but I remember they were interviewing their coach, and he said that his dad had won a Super Bowl as a coach, and he wanted to win a Super Bowl, to basically follow on that legacy. But I can't remember with Purdy, something happened. Well, that he was trying to win the Super Bowl to, do something as well. But with that
Uh,
being said, Coach, I can't remember. I will research and I will have it for you for next week's show. But
no, I think that's what he was saying. What Jay Barr said. Mike Shanahan, uh, his dad. Now I'm talking about Kyle Shanahan. His dad, Mike Shanahan, was a Super Bowl winning head coach, and
yes,
I think
yes.
that's what he's talking about. What you were talking about, Kate. So yeah, so I think is in regards to the Shanahans because in fact we talk about Christian McCaffrey. Well, Mike Shanahan was the head coach, you know, for those years, So yeah, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, Mike Shanahan, in terms of, the Shanahan legacy. So I think that's what it was in regards to that. So anything else you would like to add, Kay?
No, I'm sorry, Coach. And with that being said, let's close and for Ray, since we don't have him here, shout out to him. You can catch him on IG at _King Ray with 2 Y's _. And you can also catch him on YouTube, Ray Swank 225. And what about you, Coach? How can they follow you and catch up with you?
Well, first and foremost, in terms of catching up with me, before we get to me, my brother Brent Fox, he did his podcast. It's just me, the 20 by 20 series. Y'all go check it out. Where I just kind of touched on the surface level in terms of Rolly Romero and Esau Cruz, and talk about the Tyrant Inferno and Tim Zoo. He went more into detail in terms of talking about the fight between uh Tim Zoo, the junior middleweight fight. So he kind of broke it down in detail. So go check him out on his channel. But after this show later on at 7 p.m. on my brother channel, Jared Loving Green, he's the host, kind of like you are the moderator, K. I'm a co-host. His twin JB and Brent Fox, our homie Big Joe Townsend. We all gonna have the Southern Baller Show. We gonna have a special edition because ordinarily we go on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. However, the show has been moved to Saturday because we in between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, or Resurrection Sunday. So we're gonna have a special Saturday edition of the Southern Baller Show. So everybody that's in the chat, y'all come on over and y'all check it out between 7 o'clock, 7:30. We're gonna try to kick it off, and we're gonna have a special edition of the Southern Baller Show. But in terms of catching me, you can catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms, on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. I have a Coach 67 Sports TV Facebook group. You can catch me on Instagram, on TikTok. However, I'm primarily here on YouTube at Coach 67 Sports TV, on all social media platforms. In terms of like my shows and videos, you pretty much can catch that on YouTube and on Facebook. However, I pretty much promo our show here on on the other social media platforms. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this edition, episode 39 of Bayou Sports Talk. Uh, y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. We'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings. Close us out, Kate.
I appreciate everybody coming out and supporting us, and thank y'all for the love and the support and just being great fam. So with the closing quote we have, I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying again. That was Michael Jordan. So we love y'all. Thank y'all for showing up, and y'all be blessed. Have a great resurrection weekend. Bye bye.